Hey there, Sagittarius. Welcome to your reading for the week of March 31st. This week, you have this crocodile, skink, and mantis. It says misdirection, boundaries, and vocalization. You have this carp. It says advantages, keen-mindedness, and longevity. Someone else this week had something about like needing to put up boundaries, but it was more like it's more in the sense of trusting your gut on things. Like if something doesn't feel right to you this week, don't do it. Is kind of what that card is saying to me. That this croc, skink, and mantis card also says boundaries, so you might need to vocalize your boundaries with a person. You might need to tell them like, hey, get out of my life, or hey, talk to the hand, right, Sagittarius? So I would be very clear with your boundaries with people at this time. You have that carp. It says longevity on it, which is definitely a word that stands out to me right now. We have Uranus and Taurus still. And even though Uranus will be moving out of Taurus, it doesn't matter. I think that pretty much Uranus and Taurus wants us to work on things that last for forever and create longevity. You have the King of Pentacles right here. King of Pentacles is Taurus energy. And the King of Pentacles, I consider him to be a foundational energy. So he really works on the foundation of whatever he's building, and then he builds on top of it. And he makes sure that new things that he's working on are going to last for a long time. So if you're building anything, it could be anything, a project, business, could be your health or whatever, make sure you're starting with a solid foundation. You have the Sun, the Six of Swords, and the Eight of Wands here. The Sun is the best card in the deck, of course. Can represent a lot of happiness, joy, peace, contentment, just good feelings coming in for you. Having the Sun makes the whole entire reading more positive as well. So, I kind of just feel like good feelings all around for you this week. You also end with the Moon, and the Moon is coming up in the area of the good stuff, which is also pretty good. Because normally I do not like it in a reading where we go from the Sun to the Moon. I much more prefer the Moon to the Sun because, the Moon is like fears, fantasies, illusions, lack of clarity. But when it comes up in the good stuff, it represents entering into a sun period. It basically says the Moon is going down, the Sun is coming up. So, again, definitely entering into a sun period. You have the Six of Swords. Could just be very general energy here because the Six of Swords can represent general improvements that you're making in your life. We are getting to the end of a very long, extended retrograde period. We have had retrograde since November of last year, almost 6 months of retrogrades. And, again, I think that a lot of people are going to be feeling a huge sense of relief in the month of April. I think people will feel even better in May. I think people will feel even better than that in June. So, again, just know that if things have been difficult for a while, that there are general improvements coming in. You have the Eight of Wands. Pretty much everyone has had the Eight of Wands this week. Eight of Wands is quick movement, quick success. Again, the Mercury retrograde ends basically at the beginning of next week. It ends on the 7th, which I think is Monday of next week. And so, again, we're getting to the end of the Mercury retrograde. Even though it's not the end yet, doesn't matter. I feel all the retrogrades are kind of lightening up. And now you could notice that you're making progress faster, or things could be coming together faster. And so, again, I do feel there is like a faster forward movement energy going on this week. And again, it'll probably be a good thing because you're making progress. So I definitely like to see that for you. With the Sun, you have the Two of Wands here. For some reason, I thought you had the Two of Wands twice. You don't. But the Two of Wands is also a card of progress and making progress. He has this wand that stands behind him, and that wand is standing on its own. So the Two of Wands can say that, can also come up when you're kind of like completing one stage of your journey or your life, or you're completing something in your life, and you're just moving on to the next stage of your life. And, again, that's kind of what I feel for you here, Sagittarius, that you're just like completing one thing and moving on to the next thing. With the Six of Swords, you have the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups can be a knight in shining armor. So if you are looking for love or looking for a connection, definitely could be love coming in for you. You do end with the Lovers. So again, if you're looking for love, could be love. Could be any sign, but Earth really stands out to me. You have the Devil and the King of Pentacles. Could be Capricorn or Taurus, or it could be a person who has Capricorn or Taurus in their chart. Could also be another fire sign. You do have a lot of fire in this reading, but take it how it resonates. If you want love, definitely could be love available. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Lovers. So we go straight across here to the Lovers, and they're basically connected. Eight of Wands would represent communication. Again, we still do have the Venus retrograde until I can't talk, April 12th or whatever it is. So I feel that, again, if you're meeting a new person, perfectly acceptable during a retrograde to just start with communication and not rush, right? So I don't believe in the rule that we shouldn't date during retrogrades because, again, if you want to get technical about it, if you really wanted to follow all the astrology rules, you wouldn't even breathe. So again, I think all astrology rules are ridiculous, but, take your time. Even though the Eight of Wands says it could move quickly, it can still move quickly, and you can still just start with communication, right? Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this host card. It says, whether your space is physical or digital, you could find a lot of fulfillment in being a host. You have this debt card. It says, are you in the driver's seat with your debt, or has your debt taken over and placed you in shackles? I think that, really for Sagittarius, a lot of things having to do with expansion, that's going to be a big theme for you. We still have Jupiter and Gemini, your opposite sign. And so having it in your opposite sign is going to affect you more than everybody else, except for Gemini, obviously. But, again, I think for a lot of you, I really don't feel this is just debt. I feel it's talking about, all forms of freedom, or all forms of expansion, or, all the areas of your life where you would like to see growth. I feel this is asking you to kind of look at those places in your life where you are not growing and figure out how you can grow, right? And, kind of take control of the situation so that you can improve it in some way. You have the Five of Wands, the Two of Pentacles, and the King of Wands. The Five of Wands is a card of conflict and competition. I really like the Five of Wands right now, and I'll tell you why. Is because it's kind of I think we're a little bit in two worlds. I always say that, plenty of people have written about, the two worlds. Even, Eckhart Tolle wrote the New Earth, right? So there's this theory that we're entering into this new Earth. Well, I think we're already in it, right? But most people are living in the old system. And so I think if we look at the competition around us, in work, in business, in love, everywhere in our life, and if we look at the things we can do differently to stand out above the competition, I feel that there are a lot of benefits in doing that right now. And again, I think that's why, people should really be looking at the competition. You shouldn't be comparing yourself to the competition. You should just be saying, what is my competitive advantage? What is the thing that I can do differently that will make me stand out? And so if you do that, you won't even have to compete, right? You won't even be part of the competition. And really, that's the goal with the Five of Wands, is to learn from competition. You have the Two of Pentacles. I feel, average about this Two of Pentacles. I'm pretty sure I said in your April monthly reading that you would just be busy. And, that's pretty much the energy I get off the Two of Pentacles. I feel that there's just a lot going on. And again, it makes sense. We're getting to the end of the retrogrades. I think that, it's if you've ever been really sick and, if you, I remember when I was a kid, I had the flu really bad once, and I just thought I was never going to get better. And then when I finally got better, I ate a ton of food, right? Because I finally felt better. That's what this feels like to me. It feels like to me that there really hasn't been a lot going on in your life. And as we get closer to the end of these retrogrades, it's all of a sudden you feel better and you want to eat a gigantic feast, but not literally. I feel it's the return of energy to your life. It's all of a sudden you feel better and now you want to do a bunch of work, or now you want to be busy, and now you want to do a lot of things. And, that's kind of the energy I get off of this card. Next, you have the King of Wands. I really feel this is just how you are showing up in this reading here, Sagittarius. The King of Wands is about being bold, being assertive, being confident, really going for the things that you want to go for in your life. And yeah, I just feel like you're kind of just being bold, assertive, and confident and making things happen. So there's really nothing to say about this King of Wands. I think you're just kind of like taking action, doing the things that you want to do in your life, and that's pretty much it. I would definitely be confident at this time. I think, again, if you're dealing with competition in work or in business, I think that having the confidence to like take the risk, like let's say there's a position that you want, that where there's competition for the position, I would really work on believing that you can have it, like developing that confidence, but also again doing the things that you can do to stand out, right? And the King of Wands would do all those things, so I would pay attention to that energy. With the Five of Wands, you have the Sun. So again, the sun makes the whole entire reading more positive. It also calls your attention. The sun is like a spotlight. So it is shining its light right here in the reading. And it's saying you need to pay attention to the competition. The thing about the sun is that we have this little child here, and this child is carrying this big banner. And the banner is meant to look like something that's very heavy, but the child is able to carry that banner very easily. So again, you might have some sort of skill that is difficult for other people to do that you can do well. And that's what I always say with the sun. It's like, the sun, maybe you have a skill that would rise you above the competition, and it's like something that's hard for most people, but easy for you. And I would pay attention to those skills or whatever, because it could have you standing out above the competition. With the Two of Pentacles, I told you, you're waking up, all of a sudden. You have the Judgment card, which is an energy of waking up all of a sudden and feeling the vibe and feeling like you can, be motivated and feeling like you can do work. So, this week could definitely be kind of like a wake up week, or it's like you're getting motivated. It's like you are maybe since November with all the retrogrades, it's like you passed out and all of a sudden someone's, putting those smelling salts under your nose. I don't know. It's like a big trend on social media now where people are putting smelling salts in front of people's noses and they freak out. So again, it's like all of a sudden you're snapping out of it and you're ready to take action. With the King of Wands, you have the Page of Cups. Could also be love. Again, King of Wands could be a divine counterpart. And, the thing about the King of Wands is it doesn't have to be a fire sign. It could be. But the King of Wands can just say that there's a lot of attraction between you and another person. So if you're looking for love, it could be any sign, but definitely could be a lot of attraction. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this card. It says time to collaborate. You also have this Canary card. It says sing your own song. I think we're in an amazing time for collaboration. I always say Pluto and Aquarius. Pluto and Aquarius is going to be amazing for working together with other people and collaborating and doing all that other good stuff. The sing your own song card is like saying exactly that. Be your own person, right? Do your own thing. I think the sun is saying that with the Five of Wands. I think the problem with competition sometimes is people look at competition and they say, I have to do things like the competition. But really, we can look at the competition. We can do things that are similar to what they're doing, but we can put our own twist on it, right? And that's what I would do with that Five of Wands in the sun, in the Canary spirit. It's like saying you don't have to copy the competition, but you can like model yourself after the competition and add your own twist. And that's really what the reading wants you to do, especially in work or business. Again, it's like, I don't really have any good examples, but I've definitely heard stories from people where it's like they go to get a job, they talk about a skill that they don't think is important, but that skill that they talked about that they didn't think was important is actually the thing that got them the job. Like, that's just one example, right? So I think you need to add your own twist to whatever it is you're doing. You have the King of Pentacles, the Page of Wands, and the Seven of Wands. The King of Pentacles, again, is a card of permanence. He really likes to work on things that have longevity. And you have that first card there that says longevity on it. And that's pretty much all I'm getting on this King of Pentacles, is that it's saying, focus on longevity. This could also be a connection that's coming in for you. So again, for those of you that are looking for love, definitely good love cards here. And again, you could be like meeting a person or finding a person where the relationship like has longevity, or the two of you really want to work on something for a long time. Same thing with love. I mean, work as well. Like if you've been having a hard time in work or business, I feel a lot of you could be more focused on, working on things that have longevity or can last a long time. You have the Page of Wands. Again, the page, you've been getting these cards of like just returning to your happy-go-lucky Sagittarius self. I'm pretty sure in your April reading we talked a lot about this, how you could be just returning to your Sagittarius nature, and I think that's what the Page of Wands is saying. Like, the more, the less attached to outcome you can be, and the more you can just like go with the flow and have fun and not attach outcomes to things that you're doing, I think the better time you're going to have with whatever it is that you're doing. Definitely with love, because we have the Lovers here. If you're meeting a person, if you can just say, I'm just going to see how this goes, and I'm not going to overinvest, I'm going to take my time, and I'm just going to have fun with it, I think that would be the best outcome. But if you enter into a connection, you say, I have to marry this person, then you're probably going to have a hard time, right? And so I would just be more playful, more happy-go-lucky, more just down to enjoy the journey type of energy this week, and not just in love either, pretty much everything else that you're doing as well. You have the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is about putting up boundaries. And so I think it seems to me with that crocodile skink, it said boundaries on it. Remember what I said. It's like, if you feel like you shouldn't do something, don't. Plain and simple. Like, this feels like something where, it's like someone is inviting you out to something, or, it's like maybe you just, it could be something small. It's like maybe you feel like you shouldn't go to the store. Don't. It's like, I don't know, you might avoid something. I remember like years ago, I went to the store. I was going to the store, and I was kind of like, I don't really want to go, but I have to go, and I should go, even though I could have gone the next day, right? And I got a speeding ticket, right? So you never know. It's like sometimes I think we have those little gut instincts that tell us like, don't go, or don't drive down that road, or don't go in that direction. That's the feeling I'm getting here. That's the feeling I got on that first card. I'm not saying it's a speeding ticket. It could be anything. It could be a flat tire, could be an accident, whatever. Like, I don't like putting these things out there, but still, I would just pay attention to your intuition, right? With the King of Pentacles, you have the Eight of Pentacles, definitely about work. I feel like you're building something permanent work-wise, kind of cheating a little bit, because based off fire sign astrology, I definitely feel, pretty much all fire signs could be working on things or creating things that are more permanent, or, could be working on more like permanent projects, or building businesses that last for a long time. And I definitely feel you are. The Eight of Pentacles is also material success on the horizon. So yeah, whatever you're working on looks really good. With the Page of Wands, you have the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands says don't give up. Nine of Wands is the wounded warrior, but he's trying something again. And so again, if you're trying anything again with the Page of Wands is saying, like, don't attach an outcome to whatever it is that you're trying again. Whatever it is. With the Seven of Wands, you have the Three of Swords. Yeah, I definitely would put up boundaries in love. Although, again, I don't, like, if you put up too many boundaries, you're going to push the person away. And here's the thing, is, again, I think boundaries sometimes can be where we attach too much to the outcome. Where it's like, I really don't know how to explain what I want to say here, Sagittarius, but bear with me, right? It's like, sometimes I think we enter into a relationship a certain way, where, like, we'll have been hurt in our last relationship, and so we'll say to ourselves, I'm going to do these things so that this doesn't happen in this next relationship. But it's almost like by doing whatever it is that we say we're going to do to avoid, a person cheating on us or whatever, is exactly why that next relationship will end, right? It's like, if we try to protect something too much, it's like that is the thing that actually ruins it before we even got started, right? So I think it would be better, it's like, I understand people are afraid of getting hurt, and, I understand people, like, want to try to protect themselves, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't do those things, but what I am saying is, it's like, sometimes I think we come up with these rules, or we come up with these ideas, and by doing that, it's like we're not entering in as we truly are. I think it's an uncomfortable truth of life that we have to enter into a relationship without emotional armor. We have to enter into it being vulnerable and being willing to be vulnerable, because then the person gets to know who we really are. But again, I think it's a delicate balance where it's like, we shouldn't overinvest. We shouldn't, give too much right away. And as long as we're balanced, then we'll be fine. And as long as we pay attention, we'll be fine. But, again, I kind of feel like it's like this balance thing going on here. So hopefully that made sense. Probably not. There you go. Next in the good stuff, here you go. you have this wave of emotions. It says a new experience will enter your life that will stir a wave of emotions in you. Definitely could be love. You have this. You have 3 cards, by the way. You have the small spirit. It says appreciate where you are in your journey instead of wishing it were easier or different. You have this ultimate fulfillment card, which says you are now entering a time of peace, happiness, and emotional fulfillment. So it looks good. I definitely, even though this is coming up in the good stuff, I wouldn't let your emotions get carried away because you do have the moon. And again, the moon does say in the good stuff that you're entering into a sun period, you're entering into a time of clarity and, purpose and just good energy. But we have this lobster right here, and the lobster on the moon represents your emotional armor. The whole point of the lobster is he doesn't know what the outcome is going to be to the moon card. The moon is part of the fool's journey. The moon has the fool has to get from here all the way to these mountains in the background, but it could be an illusion. It might not be real. He has to see something through to the end without knowing whether things are going to work or not, right? And that is the risk the fool has to take with the moon. But the fool understands that the sun is going to come up. And again, it's coming up in the good stuff. But again, the moon represents emotional armor. And like I was saying earlier, it's like sometimes we have to release our emotional armor so we can be open enough to let a person into our life. And so if you want love, I would definitely, look at your emotional armor. You do have the devil, but the devil is coming up in the good stuff. This could just say that you are attracting a new person here. Clearly, there you go, right here with the lovers. And it could say that you're attracting a person who is actually true love. But again, you have to realize that and let go of your emotional armor with the lovers. One thing I also do want to say with the devil is that, again, these people are stuck to the devil here. This is the black box of Saturn that they're attached to. But those chains are hanging like down to here on their necks. They could easily release themselves from their toxic past if they took those chains off. And again, it's coming up in the good stuff. So again, I would let go of the old toxic story, embrace the new positive story, because that's going to lead to a better outcome. Even if you don't want love, this could be you making a choice of love. And I just mean that in the sense of the energy of love. You could be making a choice to do more things that you do love or do more things that you do enjoy. And that's what I would focus on here with the lovers. With the moon, you have the 10 of Pentacles. There you go. 10 of Pentacles is everything you want and desire in your life. 10 of Pentacles is building and leaving a legacy. It's also a foundational energy of building a solid foundation. So right here, it definitely looks to me like you are building a solid foundation. With the devil, you have the King of Cups, another emotional card. So, again, you could be attracting someone with very deep emotions. Again, I would just take your time. People always ask me, like, how do you be vulnerable in a connection? And how do you not get hurt? I'm like, well, really, Everybody who's hurt you, they told you they were going to hurt you day one. Every single relation, I don't care what anyone says. But maybe you're just not being honest with yourself. And I'm not even picking on you because I have a habit of doing it myself. I am far from perfect, right? And so I have a bad habit of picking people who are not great, right? But it's my own fault. I can look at every single one of those people and I can say, they all told me exactly what was going to happen day one. I just didn't listen, right? So number one, we can listen. Number two, we can take our time. And we can be vulnerable and open and emotional with a person, but we can just not give too much. And so I think the problem for us spiritual people is we are givers and we give too much up front. It's scientifically proven that if you give to a person, you automatically value them more than they actually are, right? And so that doesn't mean you can't give. And again, I think the problem also with the spiritual community, and I see this a lot, is overcorrection. So it's like I see it a lot in the comments where people are like, well, my ex did this, so the next person, I'm going to make them do this before I do anything for them. I'm like, that doesn't sound very fair. Number one, it needs to be just a nice equal give and take, right? So you hit the ball to their side, wait for them to return the favor. As long as you're not overgiving, you're fine. So no overcorrection, no undercorrection. You want to be right in the middle. With the lovers, you have the Hangman. Yeah, Hangman would say you're seeing love from a new perspective. This is actually pretty good because, maybe you are realizing that you don't need to undercorrect. You don't need to overcorrect. You just need to kind of be right in the middle and just say, like, you know what, I'm just going to see how this goes. I'm not going to overinvest. I'm not going to underinvest. I'm going to give, and if they return the favor and they give back to me, great. Then I'll keep going, right? You have this basket card, says recognition and reward for merit. Definitely could be a lot of recognition cards this month for people, and not even just this week, but for the month of April. So 8 of Pentacles is like work that you get attention for. The Sun is a lot of attention. Great time for attention. You have this March card and this Mountain Road. It says you're on the road to success. So we're in March right now when I'm recording this video. And so right now you could be on the road to success. You have this V card. It says victory in some endeavor. Definitely could be some sort of victory coming in for you. You have this Vulture. It says depression, anxiety, worry that someone is against you, Mars retrograde. Even though Mars is direct, doesn't matter. We're still in the shadow until May 2nd or 3rd. So again, Mars retrograde, even though we're only in the shadow right now, and it is, you know, it has ended, doesn't matter. It can still make us feel these things that aren't true. So I just wouldn't trust it. You know, just realize it's the retrograde. You have this Lily card. It says spiritual love. There you go. Right? There's nothing to be worried about with this person. And especially as long as you're paying attention to the evidence, you will be fine. Right? So there you go. This looks really good, Sag. So thank you for being here. And definitely enjoy your week.